We have juicy news in the Western Pacific and the North Indian Ocean with two invests, one of which is likely to attain tropical storm status, plus more storms following behind it. Invest 94B and Invest 92W we're taking a look at tonight, and we're also taking a look at a potential super typhoon in the Philippine Sea, which will go on to affect either Taiwan, the Ryukyu Islands, or Japan, and it has been semi-consistent on the GFS model runs quite recently. So we'll take a look at Invest 92W and Invest 94B right now. This is what we're looking at on the IR satellite, the visible satellite imagery rather. Both 20 miles an hour. Invest 92W has a pressure of 1,002 millibars and is moving northwest at 3 miles an hour, that is 2 knots. Whereas Invest 94B, 20 miles an hour again, 994 millibar central pressure, which is typical of a North Indian Ocean storm of this intensity, and moving in northwest at 6 miles an hour, that is 4 knots. You can see them now on the IR satellite imagery. Invest 94B is an absolute mess, it is. It's just a monsoonal slop. There's some very decent thunderstorms around it. Spicy convection. It's located pretty much on the 20 degrees north, 90 degrees east intercept, and is a very low chance of becoming anything tropical or anything tropical for that fact, but still good convection and could be a significant rainmaker from anywhere on the eastern coast of India, then into Bangladesh and Myanmar, so we need to be watching out for that as well. But Invest 92W, the more juicy part of the news tonight, we've got actually this storm has a possibility of becoming a tropical storm and making landfall on Vietnam or Hainan, so China and Vietnam could both be affected by this system. This actually has a decent chance of doing so. I'm putting it at a 70% chance of producing tropical storm winds, and because it is still in the Philippine area of responsibility, if it does get named very soon, it will pick up a Philippine name, so we do need to be watching out for that as well, and it will be a rainmaker for the Philippines. Luzon could be seeing some significant rainfall totals as a result of this system, and not to mention Vietnam as well. Here's the risk graphic right now. The forecast track for both of them, not labelled by the models, and I haven't put a track out there because of the uncertainty. 92W expected to pass just south of Hainan and then into Hanoi, whereas 94B expected to go into Bhubaneswar in India and probably die out very fast in the more drier regions of central India. But keep in mind that this will not be producing tropical storm conditions, just some heavy rainfall. Hurricane force winds not expected from both systems, but we do have a chance of tropical storm conditions surrounding much of Hainan and then into Vietnam as well, as labelled by red, and you'll see that in the South China Sea. The extreme rainfall warnings now in effect for much of Bangladesh, eastern India and Myanmar coastline as well. We could be seeing totals up to 10 inches or more from these systems. We're also looking out for some significant rainfall totals in Vietnam, the entire coast of Vietnam, and then into Laos as well. Could be seeing some very significant rainfall totals up to 10 inches, and not to mention Luzon as well could be seeing some significant rainfall totals as a result of this system. Before I go, here is the rainfall accumulation for the next 10 days from both of these systems. Black areas more than 500 millimeters of rain. That is 20 inches. You can see black areas for the Myanmar and Thailand coastlines, and those pink areas, which is 10 inches or more for India and the Bangladesh coastline. You can also see those pink areas extending into Vietnam and Laos. We could be seeing some very significant rainfall indeed over much of Hainan and the Philippines as well, with totals expected to be as high as 300 millimeters, that is 12 inches of rain on that location. Peak rainfall totals, however, in Myanmar will be closer to 750 millimeters, that is 30 inches in the next 10 days. We really need to be watching out for some very significant flooding from that front there, but winds not much of a problem as a result of both these systems. Peak wind gusts as a result of Invest 92W will be around the 45 knot threshold, so we're not looking out for a damaging or destructive storm on that front. Now let's move over to some very juicy news. We're expecting a very significant typhoon to brew in the Western Pacific Basin. Here's the wind speeds now for hour 240. Now we're looking at a very significant storm starting to develop. We can start to pinpoint it now in the Philippine Sea, just south of Guam. It's just coming into the frame right now, very weak. By hour 264, it will gain tropical storm status, run into Guam as a tropical storm, probably a higher end tropical storm with 50 knot winds, start rapidly intensifying after it moves through Guam at around the 300 hour threshold, and then things start to get pretty crazy indeed. 64 knot winds attained at hour 324, and it just really starts to put the pedal to the metal. And this storm will go right up into super typhoon thresholds with winds exceeding 130 knots as this storm peaks out at rapid intensification. So very, very dangerous situation as this storm approaches the Ryukyu Islands. It's just more than 14 days out from now, so very, very much uncertain where this storm goes. But the GFS did have very good accuracy with Super Typhoon Tsurugi. What is not to say that they have not got good accuracy here. Another little interesting bit, but incredibly unreliable piece of data is the simulated IR-4 satellite. This is quite pretty indeed. Hour 240, you can start to see the storm move through Guam, start to rapidly organise on the GFS side of things. Looks like it does get a little bit of shear into the 300-hour threshold, but then starts to do our classic band and wraps that eye nice. It looks like it's going to be a fairly small system, nothing too large, but just look at that appearance there. That is pretty much a high-tier Category 4, maybe a Category 5. So we really need to be watching out for a significant system as this storm approaches the Ryukyu Islands, to the likes of something of Typhoon Haishen last year. So one to watch, not set in stone, but definitely something that we need to be watching on the models. Anyways, that is all that I have time for in this video. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to click the subscribe button. We're very close to 200 subscribers, and subscribe to the main channel. We're just hit 3,000 subscribers, and we're going to see if we can hit 5,000 by the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Bye.